This is a Nessor. I think it's, well, I don't know how you pronounce it. Can't hardly see it with glasses on. Let's see, Cattleya Cattleya. Cattleya? I don't know. Nessor. Anyway, these are similar to the Zaima lighters, okay? Now this is a pipe lighter. Flame adjustment works great. Alright, bottom flame adjustment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down because I got some new O-rings. And we're going to go through that and we're going to see what we can learn here. You know what, guys? A lot of these newer ones like this, these come with the pins. See, the pin's got a hole in it, okay? Some of these Zaimas are certain lighters of this type. This is the same size valve. Okay, fits in there. But this here's a modified one with the Ronson valve inside. This used to be a solid pin lighter. If I find a photo of it, I'll stick one up here. Anyway, I know that's good. I've actually rebuilt this lighter, but I want to go over it because I got some new O-rings and stuff, and I want to see exactly how it works. Excuse me for the man here. All right. Doing well, you know, I've been trying to, I got a monitor out in front of me right now, right this way here. Let's just see if show you what's going on here. You can see I got a monitor there, okay? Anyway, this is going to help me keep getting in the frame. I try to go back to 4K videos, but the only problem is when I switch to 4K videos, it won't give me this monitor. So I don't want to go back to being out of frame, and I don't. This is good enough definition, but the problem is it wants to divide my videos up into 17-minute sections where I got to dub them all together. So I'll put up with that. Just have to put up with that. I'm loosening that, and I just use a little screwdriver like this just to something to get down in there in that slot. just to unscrew this valve assembly. Now I've got a usually on these guys you'll have to test it, but if it's pliable, let me take that out. If this is pliable, then just take this out and flip it around. I don't want anything to roll off of my desk here, so especially these springs. Alright, now a lot of times I should be able to blow this one out. It's not coming out. I think that's because I used that. No, I used that. I used that 90 Duro O-ring. So when you can't blow them out, you got to take out the fill valve. It's the only way. You got to get that out. You can't. You got to get this main, what I call the main valve assembly, out of here. And let me get a little light on the subject here. You guys can see. You see the wick in there? Yeah, you see right down there where it kind of comes in. What you want to do is you want to get a little rod, something like this, stick down in there, and you want to push that down. It's coming up. Let me get in there and push it down a little more. Obviously need something to get a little point on it. Didn't get it pushed down enough to get it out. Smaller little tool to get down in there. There we go. All right. Now you see on here, these are, this type of O-ring here is an FKM O-ring, but they're a little bit harder. Alright, so I got some other O-rings that I want to try out that I just received. Let's see. Over here. Let's see. This is a 5.1. This is a 5.3. I'm going to try the 5.3. See what we got here? 1.5 cord size. That makes 3 because it's a cord. You got to double it. It's 3. You got a 2.3 internal diameter, so that's 5.3. This one here was a 5.5 if I remember right. Matter of fact, I'll get these out and compare them. See what we got. This is going to be an up-to-date video, guys, because I got just some more information that's make it easier for you. Let me measure this one. Yeah, about a 5.5. Yeah, this says about, this is a little smaller, so we're going to go with that one. Another thing I want to tell you too. I want to go down. I want you to check this out. All right. You see this little tube right here? Well, the gas. Let me grab this little hook. The gas comes up through here and goes right through this hole right here, through this tube and up here. All right, but what you got to keep an eye on those when you're putting this back in is sometimes these tubes will come out, protrude a little bit out, and when you want to make sure they're in there, because the reason is sometimes you go to press these down in there. It will, you might cut your O-ring, and the best way to, I'll show you, but the best way to figure that out is once you push that down, you look down into your flashlight in this hole, make sure there is no O-ring kind of on the side. It should be evenly all the way around, because if you got something poking up, then you cut it. Okay, now here's another thing. You see this sponge? All right. Now, what I've used is I got them filters off of eBay. Guys selling them. All right. You might even see them. These right here on eBay. I actually got both types. All right. But these here are softer. These are a little bit more harder to press. Then on the Zaima, since you're using that thumb flame wheel adjustment, you want a softer sponge, so use these. Then not only that, but cut the green and the white off and just used half of it. Okay, I used the white. Then you want to poke a hole through it. What I do is I use a 1mm leather hole punch to punch a hole through it, because you want the hole, as you can see here, you want that sponge tight around this pin here. Reason that is this right here. Let me get rid of the O-ring here real quick. What you're doing is when you're adjusting that flame wheel, this thing's coming up and down because you are you're screwing this in. You're screwing this clockwise, and this actually sits right on top of this. Okay, so you're screwing it down, like say you're screwing it down, it's working like that. And I say cut it thin, cut it in half, cut it thin, because if you get something that's real hard on a sponge, then you'll have to, you know, of course, this goes around this, so you're trying to turn this way, you know, to tighten it up. So if your sponge is real thick, it's going to make it hard for this to press down. And if you get too much of an O-ring, I think this will make your flame adjustment. This is a little softer, pliable than the other one I had on here. Okay, this is like a 85, 90 duro. This is probably like a 60 or 70. Okay, so that should make things a little easier. I'm thinking this here might make it a little easier for the flame adjustment. Alright. So anyway, so if this O-ring works, get these off AliExpress. Alright. If I remember, I'll try to put a link to them below the description there. Okay, so now what you want to do is usually, I'm going to tell you something too. If I can find that photo, I'll stick it here in this part. But sometimes these things don't work because all of these things will get fused together. I mean, I've seen these things come out just like this, all one piece, when I took them out, and they was all stuck and froze together, and there was corrosion and everything on that, and of course the O-ring and the inside is just hard, you know. So anyway, and that there, you can just take that out. It's a little piece of cotton cloth, and if you got one in there, put it back in there. That way you got your clearances needed. Just maybe wash it off with some alcohol, but usually those aren't dirty. Usually they're not dirty. If they're not dirty to look at it, leave it alone. I've never seen one dirty yet. Okay. Now the difference between this here valve here and the one that goes to the Zaima, the Zaima is usually thicker or thinner as far as the thickness of this wall. And as far as this part is, the small brass part on the bottom might be a bigger diameter because this wall is thinner. So all depending. Okay. So what I try to do is stick that back in there, get me some tweezers and kind of get it down. There's a little ledge in there, guys. I don't think you can see it. See the little ledge in there? Here, put a little light on it. See, there's a ledge in there, so you gotta kind of feed that wick down through that ledge first. Okay. You're just not going to put it in there and it's going to fall in the tank. It's not going to happen. Unless you just get lucky for some reason. There we go. Alright. And I try to drop that down in there. You want that straight up. Alright. And as far as this goes, I'm going to stick this in there. Give a little piece of brass here. Push that down. That actually went in good. That went in real good. Alright, now remember I told you about, the Zaimas. These got the flint on the back where you put your flint in, and the Zaima has this, it pops out. Well, if you take a screwdriver, which I will, you can get in here and screw this screw down here. Possibly, well, let's put it this way, I'll just tell you. See that screw? That's what holds this from turning. And on a Zaima, it's got a little, let me get it, got it right here. On a Zaima lighter, matter of fact, just let me show you. That way you'll understand. See, so you gotta take the screw out from the back of the cap on this here, alright? Now with the Zaima, you guys that got them, you know these, this thing flips out, right? Well, the Zaima has this here, okay, underneath here. It's actually underneath here, okay, and this little nub here on the end pokes up through there like that. Then this comes over, and see how it holds it in, because it's got a little nub underneath. That's how the Zaima works. All right. But on these, they don't do that. I don't know why they don't. I mean, to me, I like the little nub underneath there, but it's hard to tell them. Maybe it's the people that built the Zaimas built this for Nessor, I guess, so they just made it a little different. But anyway, if you got a Nessor lighter, it's every bit as good as a Zaima. All right, because the bodies and everything are the same. You see, everything's the same except for the cap. This one's got a hole in the back. This in here has got a little road rash because somebody obviously used a bigger screwdriver than needed to get in there and then screw that out. Alright, now what we want to do is put this back together. Now, what goes inside this, let's get a close up on this stuff here. Now, there's an O-ring. Now, if this O-ring is pliable on the one you got, leave it alone. Okay, that's just to keep the gas from coming out through the top of here when the valve's open. Alright, so I got that pushed down in there. Okay. Then I done told you I done told you about this. Alright. Make sure you don't lose your springs, guys. See this, see this little spring here. What that spring does is when you turn your flame adjustment for a higher flame, okay, it actually opens up this valve here after your cap flip's open, see? Alright. Okay. Now let's lay that down for a second. Get this in there. Well, when you put this in, guys, you want to put it in sideways like this because you don't want that spring coming out of there and getting bound up, you know, getting pinched because you came out and you just don't want to pinch it, okay? And like I said, get you an appropriate screwdriver. Just screw that down. I just snug it down a little bit, you know. Alright. Now, put the, of course, change the O-ring on this, obviously. And this here valve comes apart on these, where you just put another O-ring on the inside. Keep in mind as well as when you take a filler valve out of a tank or any valve out, you're going to have air in the tank. You're going to have nice, lots of nice air taking up the volume of that tank that you're going to have to bleed out. If you get too much air in the tank, your flame could jump up and down in your lighter. If that happens, sometimes what you can do is you can fill it up, and you can bleed it and you get liquid out and you think you're good. But what you should do is after you put your filler valve and the lighter back to get all back together, fill it up, then bleed it completely out. Okay, then fill it up again and purge it and just make sure there ain't no spurts of air bubbles in there and causing you trouble. Like I said, if your flame is irregular, bouncing up and down, you could have moisture in the tank or you got air in the tank. So bleed it. That's it, just bleed it. Alright. What we're going to do here is put this in. Oh, by the way, that little plastic thing in there, that's what your flint roller stays on. I've never seen one of those wore out, guys. Alright, but if it makes you feel comfortable, you can put a little bit over silicone grease on that if it makes you feel better. Alright, and I get my valve assembly here. Screw this down and Since this is a pipe valve, you gotta you want to line that hole. Let's say that's pretty good right there. This was almost center, so I just tightened it up a little bit. Alright, we're done with that part. Now the best way I found to put these back in, it's just like this. Just put the part, put that on first. Okay. See what I got? Alright. And get you something like this, possibly something, and just push it back as you're pushing down with your finger. Try to get it. It's only going to fit in there. See, this went cockeyed a little bit, but it's only going to fit in there one way. It's got to be flat. There we go. All right. See what we got. You know what I didn't do? I made a mistake. That's because I'm tired, not paying attention, getting in a hurry. I gotta set my flame adjustment. And they gotta have this out in order to change my flame adjustment. Another thing is too, guys, don't work on lighters when you're tired. You see, because I didn't tighten the wheel up, alright? Alright. Mostly air. Still air. Well, get over there. Yep, got some liquid there. All right. I think we got enough to test out our flame adjustment. Ain't nothing coming out, so take a little small screwdriver and just open this up a little bit. Right there. There we go. We got a low flame. Okay. What you want to do too is, while you got that off, you want to check this, your shut-off mechanism. Yeah. They don't even have to go down all the way. right there. We're good. You gotta go down all the way and it's barely going out. You're not gonna be right in there. Alright, so anyway. What I like to do at this point is kind of just adjust this for a high flame. I'm just going to go with that. Might back it off a little bit. Then I'll try screwing this back on. I'll check my flame adjustment. Yeah, that's a little bit more than I want, so let's back off a little more. So, screw this down a little tighter. Let's try that. Let's see what we got. I turn her wide open now. That's pretty good. I'm just going to leave that like that. This seems good. I like. Seem good there. Alright. Now, let's put it back in. Now, I adjust for a low flame. You see this screw head right here. This is going, when you open it up for a higher flame, then it's going to hit this body and it's going to stop. Okay? That'll be your highest flame setting. I try to adjust it for right here. It maybe all depending, get the flame maybe fairly low. I actually might adjust it even a little lower. Let me see here. I think I'm going to. I'm going to adjust it for a really low flame. Just unscrew that screw there while you're holding that wheel with your finger, okay? And just screw this top a little tighter. Let's try that. I can see a little, you probably can't see it, but there was, maybe there still is a little bit of flame there. No, I think I blew it out. Yeah, I blew it out. Yeah, that ain't bad. I'm going to try that through my pipe valve here first before I put everything back together. Yeah, freaking lighter. I'd say that's good. That's probably 1.5 inch flame. Pressure, that gas in there. Yeah, we're good. We're just gonna leave it. We're just gonna leave it like that. Alright. And we'll put that back in there. This little wrench right here, screw that on, 3mm. It's going to have to be thin profile down here. I got this off of eBay, this set. I tried to look for them small, that small again, but I couldn't find them. But I do have the, here's what the set looks like in case you guys want to try to look for it. industrial step up 8-piece interchangeable precision nut driver set, metric. Alright, right there's the number, there's what you get. Most used one out of the whole batch is a 3. Now I've actually went to places. Sometimes you can get them on this. It's just a 3. I thought I had a 3mm one of those. I know I do here somewhere. I've got a 3mm one of those. Right here it is. You know, yeah, but this one don't. See how this top's just spinning. That's what you get when you buy this Chinese garbage. Better off buying a quality tool to begin with. Alright, there's that. Come back in here again with this spring hood assembly. There. You can actually adjust this here with your finger over your pipe, you know. You gotta have a little stiff finger to do it, but it's doable. Now I usually put this up to my ear and open up the cap like that to see when it kind of listen to where the gas comes on. Comes on about right there. So, you know, it's pretty easy if you ever want to adjust that a little bit longer, but I'm thinking that's good enough flame there. Well, I hope this has kind of maybe helped somebody out a little bit. As far as that stopper in there, the one I told you, you know, if it's pliable to just turn it around. I found out the best thing to do on that, guys, if you don't have, if it's not usable, get you some of this O-ring cord off of O-rings and more. Just measure the inside. That 2, it's either a 2 or a 2.5mm on that. This might be it, 2.4. Just get you a couple of these smaller packages and just get a razor blade and cut them. That's the best thing to use for that, you know. Then if you cut an O-ring off, it's not going to be square. Get you some, this is Buna 70 cord. Always buy the 70 Duro. You know, it's not too soft. And anything over 70 on the O-ring, let me show you something here. While I got you here, I want to show you this. Alright. Here's the difference between this is a softer O-ring. Now watch this. That is hard. You don't get a very good gap. Okay, see the gap on that? And if you go too hard, you'll break it. You know, gap on that is a lot better. Watch. You can get it over your parts. You can get that over your parts a lot better. Without breaking. Okay. Alright, now if you ever need a stiff O-ring, you know, for whatever reason, then you can get some of these. But I really find I've got more than I think I'll ever use. Because I find out, you know, sometimes you don't have the exact, say, size. Say, for instance, I'm putting an O-ring over this, and it takes a, let's see what the size of this is. It takes a, let's just say it takes a 6.5 millimeter O-ring, you know, or something like that. See, that says 6.71. I want to show you something here. I can come over here with this Buna here, right? And I can grab, oh, I bet you I can use this one. See that? That's a 4.8. Okay. What this allows you to do, guys, is just, it allows you, you can see what I'm doing here, it allows you to stretch it more to get it, especially on, if you know, you can't always find the exact right size O-ring. It just don't happen. And on something like this, you know, like what I'm doing, I'm just going to leave this on here. And you know what, it don't hurt if you guys got a fill valve, put an O-ring on it. And the reason why is you know, you always want to keep these caps on your lighter. Okay? Now that might have been a little bit smaller than I need. Yeah, I need something a little thicker than that. But what that does, if you get the right size O-ring on there, you can actually just take your fingernail on there and put a fingernail tight, and it'll hold it down. It won't vibrate loose on you, rather than having to take a screwdriver to cinch it down tight so it doesn't come out on you. With appropriate size O-ring, all you got to do is just screw it in there and take your fingernail and just tighten her up a little bit. And it'll keep it from vibrating off. Alright, now I hope, let's see if there's anything else I can think of. I don't think there is. But, now I'll tell you what, another thing is too. Some of the smallest, you know, guys, look at this here. This is a 5, this is, you can use these on the Zaima too. This is a 5.5 OD, okay? Alright, so what amounts to is 3. Then you got 2.5. That makes 5.5, which means this has got 2.5 millimeter inner diameter. Alright, 2.5 millimeter inner diameter, along with a 1.5 millimeter for each side of the cord, gives you a total of 5.5. And this one here, like I said, this one here is a 5.3. This is a 5.1. I bought these just to see which one would work better for the Zaima. But even if, say, this one here works best and all of them, there'll still be use for these. And you won't have, you know, like on here, I bought 1,000 of them. I can't remember what that cost me. It wasn't too much. And here's another thing. Check this out. Get some smaller O-rings, right? I mean, look at here. Look at here. That's a 1.45 millimeter outer diameter. The 0.4 is the cord thickness. All right. Now you won't use these very often, but boy, you'll be glad you have them if you need them. Okay. There's a. These are 4s, 1.6 by 0.4, then 2 by 0.4, and 2.4, 0.4. Then you got some 5s, 1.8, 2.5, 5 OD. You know, I need to get some, I think I got some 3s in here somewhere. Well, I think, let's see here. Yeah, right there. There's a 4, there's a 3, and 2.8. You gotta get these in order. 1.6, and there's a 7. All right, then I got size 6. All right. Then I got size 7. When I say size 7, I mean we're talking about the cord thickness here. That's 0.7 cord thickness. And this here's a 0.8. Now this is about up from here. You got to go to 1 millimeter. I don't think I've ever found any 0.9s, but it don't matter. You know, but I used to have. I used to have, the smallest ones. Let's see here. That's a 2.6, 3.0, 3.6, 4.1, 4.3, 4.9. Anyway, I was working on some lighters, and this 2.6 was too big. I needed something smaller, and this 3.0 on this was too big. Go down to the 5, and this one right here, this 2.6 but it's only got a thickness of 0.6. This was too small, so I looked and looked, and okay, 2.7. Well, this is too big. So I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I found these online. These are going to be, you need to get these. See this here? This is a 0.8 by 0.8. What that means is the cord size is 0.8, so that's 1.6, and a 0.8 internal diameter, which gives you a total of 2.4 millimeters outer diameter. These are nice here, guys. I'll try to put a list to these O-rings and stuff in the description so you guys can order them. Listen, guys, order O-rings. Guys, I spent, man, I hate to tell you, I spent hundreds of dollars on O-rings. I don't know what's there. There's hundreds of dollars here, I think, because, you get 10 cents, on an O-ring or something, but this guy's good. He's got good prices. And the only place I can find these particular sizes of O-rings, guys, is out of China. Now, you never know how our relationship with China is going to be from one minute to the other, so don't just be ordering a small dab of O-rings. Order what you think you're going to need if you go the rest of your life, if you can. I need to order. I'm kind of learning which ones are more popular, and I'm going through and I'm kind of increasing my volumes on them, and just putting, just so I make sure I got enough. I never run out, and not that I'll run out, but I just make sure I got a variety. And then you want to go to O-rings and more. This is the smallest they have. Is a 1.1. Okay. It's 1 by 1. What that means is it's 1 millimeter cord size, so you got 2 is 1 millimeter inner diameter, which is 1, so you got 3 millimeter OD. Then you got to come down to 1.5, 1.8, then 2, 2.2, 2.5, 2.6, 2.8. Then I got another one here somewhere. just looked at it. I usually got, it's over here. I haven't got this filled up yet, but I need to get some bigger O-rings. And I got a 3-1, because here I had a 2.8. And there's a 3mm, 3.3, 3.5, 4. And then you should get a, like a 4 point whatever you can get, all the way up to maybe 7. I would say 7. If you're just working on lighters, I would say 7. Like 4, 4.5, 5, 6, 7, because the 5, 6, and the 7s are basically going to be used for things like this, and you can stretch them a little bit. And what I usually use on these O-rings for like these filler valves, I usually use a 1mm thick cord on them. Now, if you put your filler valve in there and you got a cap, and the cap's not flush with the bottom like this one here, then maybe you got too thick of an O-ring here, so you might have to cut it back a little bit. Okay, so if this is 1mm and it's just protruding out a little bit, then try to find like a 0.8mm thickness cord. Okay, I'm thinking, let's see, what else have I got here? Yeah, save all your parts, don't throw anything away. Even though these are parts out of the Zaima valve, like this here, this is the part I cut back on a Zaima valve when I rebuilt one for okay, let me tell you something here. There will be a video on my channel. Okay, this is actually, I cut this off another valve, but this basically right there. But you see what I got here. This is actually the back side of one of those solid pin Zaima valves. And what happens is that basically just screws into the back of your valve, so to get your then behind that is your spring and stuff. But anyway, I cut the back of this off, and what I was doing, and you guys will see it, I think I showed on the video, and I think it was on the one video I just did here recently. But what I did was I soldered in. I took one of them. Yeah, let me get it. I took one of these KWA valves right here, and I stuck it in the drill, and I sanded down this top, and I stuck that top down in there and cut this off. Then I soldered around that. All right. Well, you know what? You can do that. You can. But I think the best thing to do, to be honest, that makes it easier, is just go through my video that I show in the back about filler valves and stuff. I think the best thing to do is to do like I was telling you earlier, to get you some of that pipe. Let me show you something here. Get you some of that pipe that I showed to stick down in here. Cut it off accordingly. Make sure you sand the inside and outside. Take all your stuff off out of the inside. All right. I think this is the easiest way to do a pipe valve. Okay. And solder. Just solder this piece in right here. Once you solder it, then I'll sand it down. You'll be able to tell if your solder is good or not after you sand down. You'll see that it's completely done. Then you say, so now what you got is just this tube in there. What I got is an old lighter body, and I leave that O-ring on it like I discussed in my previous video, and I screw that down in there. Then, like I said, I'll get the previous. On this one here, I used a Ronson valve. Okay. But I believe, I haven't done it yet, but I believe you can put one of the KWA valves in there like this as well. I believe. I need to try one and see, rather than sand the valve down itself and stick it in from the back. What you just need to do is, after you get that soldered in there, is you need to drill the hole out according to which valve you're going to use, and then tap it. Then screw the valve in and out. I think that's the best way to do it. And the reason I say that is because this way here, this part of the valve is always in your lighter. Okay. And then if your valve, like these Ronson valves, they're like a pressed, fitted together. They're a pressed valve, so they're not really, I mean, you can probably take them apart and repair them, but they're not really what I call a repairable valve. It has a screw-in back on it and whatnot. But anyway, after you do that on these and you get a bad valve, all you have to do is just unscrew that inside valve and buy another one for $5, stick it in there and screw it in, you're good to go. And I'm going to try that too on the KWA valve. I'm thinking I can do it. I mean, I don't think this valve is going to stick out anymore. I just don't think it's going to stick out that much. It all depends on the clearance. You see what I'm saying here? The clearance there. Because that's got a pin there, but see, the pin can go inside the cap here. So I'm not for sure whether I got the clearance. Let's see. One way to find out. Let me tell you what I'll do. I'll just do what I got you on here. You guys are definitely looking for Zaima in this type of lighter. I got you here. I'll just go ahead and try to give a guesstimate, see if this will work the way I want it to work. Alright, see there's a base in there. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to measure that base to the top here. 6.40. Okay. 6.40. Yeah, guys, I think I'd have the clearance to do it. Boy, it'd be close. It'd be close, but I think I can do it that way. It'd be close. If that's the case, then forget the soldering. You know, forget the soldering. The only thing it is with the soldering is, like, you know, you're able to take the base out from the bottom to unscrew it, you know. If I remember that photo, if I can think about it, I'll try to insert it in here for you to see. One of these ones I had where I soldered that in. I don't know if it'll be this particular type of valve, but it will be a valve of that sort. I don't even know if that'll. No, these are different threads. That's a 4.5 and this is a 5. Good thing about that is you need a new valve. If you do this mod, you can get the tool from the guy that sells the valves. Okay, so you don't have to make up your own little tool. The only thing you might have to do is change the O-ring on this valve. You might have to do that. Alright. So I like vintage lighters too. You can work on them mostly, you know. I kind of, guys, I spend a lot of time doing things that other places don't. Other places like that have repair lighters, you know, like the authorized repair services places, you know. They might have, like, say for instance, an IM corona valve like this, and they might pop that off and then put a seal in there and they'll put it back and screw it back on. But if, for instance, if the lighter has to have, you know, it's a, what I call a non-repairable, I should just say it's replaceable, not non-repairable, but replaceable, they'll just pop the old one out and stick a new one in. Well, see, on some of them old vintage lighters, guys, you don't have that option because there's no parts no more. So anyway, I don't think that I've missed anything on this, but I can say one thing that I do have. Oh, hold on here a minute. Good Lord, that, looky there. Huh. That's a Zaima valve, guys. Well, look at there, guys. Listen, you got that old style. I didn't. This is the first time I've checked this, guys. This is a filler. Let me get the valve out. This is for extracting valves that are thin and don't have these notches to get in there. Huh. I just got this not too long ago, but we'll see, it's not going to work in this one. Okay? Because this is, look, it's not going to work in this one. See the difference? This has fine threads, this one don't. You guys got the old solid pin. Okay? This was a solid pin Zaima valve, you know. If you got that one, this tool will work in it. Just screw it down in. Then tighten it up. You have to put it in, you have to have it in a lighter to do that. Let me slip this on there real quick. Okay, so what you're doing is you're tightening that up. Okay, then you're screwing that down, snugging it, then you're unscrewing it out. Well, that's really nice. I'm glad I know that works now on the Zaimas. I didn't really know that. I really didn't. That'll keep it from burgering up these threads if you can't get it out. Now listen, guys, you can order these tools now. They express. They got a small one. The small one has a hole in it, like this one. Then they got a bigger one. They're like DuPont valve removable tools. But see, I ordered the large one because I wanted to check it on bigger valves, you know, like the Zaima. But I ordered it. Here's what they sent me. Sent me the same one I got. So if any of you guys I got this on eBay and you guys want one of these tools, I mean, I'm just selling it for what I got into it, guys. I think they're about 40 bucks. You know, these come from China. They take about 4 weeks to get here. 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is, 3 weeks. Probably 3 weeks, closer to it. So I got an extra one of these. Don't sell them, just keep it as an extra. But they're a handy tool to have. If you guys are working on lighters, no doubt about it. Well, all right. Well, look at here. Found out something new on camera that I didn't even know. So guys, if you got the old solid pin Zaima and you got the screw cap on it, don't have the fine threads, but it's got the coarse threads inside, then you can use one of these tools. Unfortunately, with the fine thread, you're not going to be able to use it. But that's okay. All right. It kind of goes out when I go to turn it down. I don't know what it is, but it's okay. That might be. That's good. That's good. That's a good flame there. That's a 90, folks. Ain't no 45. Like a lot of these lighters got today. See when the gas goes off right there. This is a nice lighter. You guys out there, I've got this available. Comes in the original box. That's it.